Meeting to order. I'm Sheila Vaccaro here with Lisa Dorsey and Bernie Flynn. It is now 6:51. Are there any announcements? Seeing none, ask for comments, suggestions, and petitions by residents, taxpayers, and visitors in attendance. Yes, come.
Yes, my name is Dorothy Hammond, and I live at 314 West Gay Street, Lot 6. I've been a resident forever. We've been coming every year for getting these permits. I would come way back when we used to be in line. We'd come at 5 o'clock in the morning and wait and wait, but it was like a first come, first serve. Now it's where you have to do this lottery thing. I feel, since I've been a resident for all these years and a homeowner, my next door neighbor is the same, the Greens. We shouldn't have to go through this. We should be at the top of the list. We've been there for over 50 years. When it started, that's when we started with the tickets. And we should be, when my mom was alive, that's when it was back in the day. But anyway, we shouldn't have to go through this year after year. In the beginning was fine, you waited in line for all those years. Then with this lottery crap, and you gotta wait, see if you were, approved or declined or what, it doesn't make sense. So, and we don't have that many in the neighborhood now because a lot of people moved out. But I'm a homeowner. I've been there. I should be at the top of the list with my neighbor, because college kids are moving in and out. They need parking. That's different people. Like I live on Gay Street. I have people that are coming 2 blocks away to park on the street because they have no parking. And it just doesn't make sense. I don't know, why, but, I was approved, but it was taken forever to get to that point. And I just don't know what can be done about it. Every year we got to go through the same situation. It's ridiculous. I think it's ridiculous.
Ramsey, can I ask your opinion on this?
Yeah, I mean, I apologize for the delay. I will say that was not due to anything other than the fact that we had over 150 permits to approve every single day, and we had an employee that was out for 2 weeks. So it was just really Monica and Tina approving the permits, and then also had to do the lottery. In the last 2 years that we've had it, we've never sold out the permits. Nobody's ever been turned away from it. So the delay was simply a staffing issue. And I think we could at some point maybe move the timeline as far as allowing homeowners to go to the top of the list. While I understand that, and I love the homeowners, I love the residents here. I think our job in government is to enforce and rule fairly and equally. Some people can't afford to buy homes in the borough. And I don't know if, I understand that you've been here a long time and I love you for that. And I appreciate that. But I don't think we can treat anyone differently legally, or I don't think that's our role in government. But I do apologize for the delay because that was more of a staffing issue. But we haven't had in the last 2 years anyone turned away. So that is fortunate. And with the student parking, we do now regulate. I think 2 years ago we passed the ordinance. So now we look at off-street parking and they can only have 1 permit per person. And we look at how many spaces they have off-street, and then they only can get however many they can accommodate in the driveway. So we did kind of reduce for that. So I think I went over it last month. I think we've sold almost 1,000 fewer permits than we normally have. And every year we've been incrementally decreasing in hopes that helps benefit the residents to park more. Yes, this is lot. Yes, yes. Yeah, I know the lot E, the E permits, yes. Yeah, so there's 30 available, and we, in the last years, have never oversold that. So we've never denied anyone. And the goal was really to make it so you didn't have to show up at 5 a.m. You could just send your application. And ideally, we would send you the notification immediately, but because we had a vacation, it took, I think, a couple of days long.
We had to meet 45 hours to get in because first come, first serve, you were there,
Can I just, so I think that there's like a cultural shift. It used to be you knew the day that you went in there that you got that permit. And now, especially because somebody was out for a week, how long was the delay? I mean, and that's terrifying because it sounds like it's a lottery and everybody wants, but the truth is that that's not.
Turn in the application a month ahead, but your permit doesn't expire until the day before. Yeah.
But it's still scary. It's scary. Can we come up with a system for making it less frightening?
I can look at it, but I will say I don't think having people have to wait at 5 a.m. because I know there's.
I'm not suggesting we go back,
Um,
but if we're not overselling this, can we somehow let these people know? Because it's terrifying. I just lost my health insurance.
yeah,
Because they felt like it.
yeah.
And it was terrifying. And then in the end, I didn't lose my health insurance. They lied to me.
Yeah.
And I had to pay twice. And I did it. And I did everything they wanted. It's terrifying. When you're hanging there in that little space, please just do something to make it less terrifying. If you know that this is never oversold, can we communicate that to them?
It's hard to do because people do turn it in the day of. So I don't know how, I mean, I can shorten the turnover time. So you turn it in on this day and then we tell you the next day, but a lot of people will still turn it in early.
Can we let them know that, if you apply to lot 6, can we say there are 30 spots in lot 6, you're number 2 in the lottery, and as they come in, so they see that only 15 people have applied.
I'm sure we can find.
Do that.
Sure. I'll look into it.
And just like the other day, I got a parking ticket. And it was like, okay, well, I'm still allowed to park here, but this is before they sent out, what was it? They sent out the information where you had to go online and go to the email to do the next step. So I came over, I paid it because on the line it said, you have an outstanding parking ticket. So I was afraid if I don't pay it, then I'm going to be bumped back. So, I couldn't apply. It wouldn't let me go any further. So I just, I paid it so I could.
I do the same thing.
Yeah.
When there's confusion, reach out to parking directly and just double check. And sometimes you do just have to pay it.
Yeah.
I pay my parking tickets. I leave my car out there all the time and my son does it.
Yeah.
I only do it sometimes. It's okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Madam Chair. Ramsey, this is the group of houses that we've been talking about for the last 7 months on West Gay Street. Well, it's close enough, that need to have the parking closer to their house, that supposedly, allegedly, Public Works has a work order to paint some of those parking spots white. And somehow that's not happening because we've asked to have that updated for the Hammonds and the Greens and a couple other residents on that street. And could you find out why things aren't happening as well?
Yes, I did. I mean, we did submit it through the work order system, so I will find out.
Wow. Slowski. It's taking forever. And I see the guy out there painting the streets today, so he can just as easily do those 10 spots for the residents so that they don't have to, Mr. Green especially has to walk all the way from Wrong Crowd to get to his front door. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, we can move on to reports. First is the garage management report.
Good evening. I'm Norman Ortiz with Colonial Parking. I'm here to present the performance report for the parking garages. To begin with, for the month of August, the Bicentennial Garage reported transient revenue of $59,089, $278 less than 2024. That's mostly due to a decrease of available spaces for the month. There was pressure washing that was getting done during the month, which limited the amount of available spaces during the month. With that, we should also see a similar impact with Bicentennial come in September with the deck coating project that's currently occurring there now. So you should see maybe not quite as drastic, but a similar performance there for September. Moving on just for the contract parkers billed for August and September. August was pretty much average what we had in July. We saw the bump up in September to a total of 1,000 billed contract parkers, which was the return of university students back on campus. Moving on to the combined garage performance report. So for August, our total revenue was $228,710. About $2,200 better than it was for the same month in 2024. In August, our operating expenses were $73,000. That's $73,059. Difference of $23,000 from the last month in July. That was due to, in August, we had 3 payrolls that month. So expenses were higher than the previous month due to the 3 payrolls for the month. I guess, excuse me, alongside with and the limited spaces for the Bicentennial Garage, we can see in the average transit average revenue for the Bicentennial Garage and average tickets per day for the Bicentennial Garage were slightly less than they were the same month last year, again, for the decrease in number of available spaces for the month due to the pressure washing in the month. So it kind of summarizes the performance for the garages. Any questions?
No.
Great.
Thank you
Thank you.
so much. We have one comment, though.
Does anyone know if the Bicentennial third floor will be available for the 21st of this month?
Yeah, that should be good.
So I believe the project was a 5-week project, so it should be completed by the end of the month, end of September.
Thank you. All right, moving on to the director's report.
I will make this sort of quick because we also have to do the budget. So what did I write? We tried, I missed the deadline. So we're going to have a purchase order on the October finance agenda for 5 additional kiosks in town. I know everybody has feelings about the app. But there are kiosks. We are going, as we said we would, we did have money in the capital budget, so we have 5 more. Monica and I will go scope out some areas to install once they're in. We are working on the parking survey. My hope was to get that out sooner. We did have a good meeting with Ann Carroll, who's very good at wording things, and not sure if we'll have it for the restaurant festival, but because I really want it to be more resident focused than transient focused, I don't think that'll be a big issue, and we will still roll that out. We deployed the new handhelds. We have 4 brand new ones. That is lovely. Chapter 104, Monica and I met with Dietz and Kristen Camp to go over the updates. The goal is to update the entire ordinance instead of piecemealing change by change. So I'm hoping to have that in October. But there is a lot. We do need to do a loading zone audit and just clarify a lot of police questions were in there. The Bicentennial Ceiling Project has not only been scheduled, but is in action. We picked up the sign for Zukin Way and are planning a grand reveal at some point. So we'll work with the Zukin family. I know Bernie's been helping a lot with that. We did have an email from an engineer regarding concerns about the the weight load for the Up on the Roof event at Chestnut Street Garage. Pinoni did a great job. And actually, the gentleman that reviewed our plans was very, he knew the engineer that had built the garage and said that they typically build like over the standards anyway. So we did confirm that it was within weight limits. John O'Brien was great about coordinating placement. So there's no issues with it. They received a memo. I just want to put that out there in case it does come up someday that we did. It's okay. We did meet with Colonial Parking to discuss, I know one of the conversations when we transitioned into new management was to make sure that all the revenue came to us and that we then paid all of the expenses from the borough so that we had clear accounting. But with the quick transfer, they have the monthly parkers and it's a software company called Zephyr. So the goal is to transition where we will have our own Zephyr account that they'll have access to and can still manage. But then that way we can, for 2026, make sure that we're paying all expenses to Colonial instead of receiving revenue back. Hotel Indigo reached out for coordination over the signage for the spaces that were in their MOU or their agreement. So they sent 3 options. I think we found one that we agreed on. I haven't heard back from them on placement or timing. I think it said second floor was where they wanted. And now I'm remembering that you had many feelings on signage, so maybe I'll send that to our design guru for review. And then the mayor came to also discuss the concerns from Ms. Hoffman from the last meeting. We did put in work orders to Public Works on the Lot 6 concerns about like the one-way on Hannum Ave, speed limit signs and stop signs. So those have gone to Public Works. And Ms. Wise that was here, that has been issued. She had actually already turned in all of the information that I found on somebody's desk. So she's good to go with her handicap parking space. Revenue for the month of August. Ticket revenue was up a little bit, 105,555. Posting revenue dipped a little bit. It's been consistent though. Meter revenue was at 170.68. And I'll say, this was something I was going to mention in the budget, but I do want to be mindful. The meter revenue also includes service fees. And this is something I'm working on with Barb and something that I met with our Flowbird rep today to talk about. But this includes the service fees that are pass-through fees. So when everybody pays their 20-cent service charge to Flowbird when they use the app, we then pay Flowbird that payment back at the end of the month through an invoice. So I do want to have a few more talks with Barb about figuring out like what we're actually netting there so that we have a clearer budget plan. Permit revenue, you can see, was a very busy month, 21,409. In June, it was 3,000, and in May, it was 1,000. So it was, I don't think Monica or Tina sat down much. So all in all, it was a fairly solid month. Any questions? Okay.
Are we doing a budget discussion today?
I did do it.
That's
I
it.
did it.
Okay.
Yes.
I think that was enough.
I got it done and I apologize to everyone out there that was looking online for it, but I had some more questions and we had a lot of interviews last week and I was delayed and I apologize.
Okay.
Um,
I'm sorry.
did you get it, Bill? I'm sorry. I know you guys have a lot in the next meeting too, so I'll try to give you the Cliff's notes here. So currently we have 1 director, 1 assistant to the director, 2 clerks, 5 full-time and 1 part-time parking enforcement officer that manage all of the daily operations. I think everyone knows our operations, but we do a lot, we are really focused on customer service. So I'll just put that out there again. If you're in town and you can't use the Flowbird app and you call the office, we have an officer almost every day that we can send over to help you walk through the app or the kiosk. But We are doing the enforcement, collections, postings, customer service. They have court 2 days a week, and then a lot of questions for permits and service. The difference for next year, and we did reduce officers this year. We used to have 4 full-time day shift officers and then 2 night shift and a part-timer. So we went down 1 officer when Corday transitioned. And Monica's done a great job managing the operations, so I feel like we're still being consistent, especially with the addition of the LPR. So for 2026, the only minor changes that I have is that I would like to promote Monica to Assistant Director of Parking Services, and which is well-deserved, and I appreciate her, and and the other would be to include a part-time admin assistant / communications person. And I'm hoping that this person can help us with more than just parking, but I would really like somebody that can help with some of the clerical things that are not clerk related. And if there's time, maybe work on the constable court paperwork, because that's another goal of Barb and mine, to get our constable contracts redone. So those are the only staffing changes. Officers would stay the same. The goals for 2026. Well, I'll just tell you while Bill's looking for that. So one of the biggest things, again, I'm on Facebook. I know what people are saying, and I take feedback, as Nicole mentioned. We really want to work on wayfinding in town, the signage, especially if we do bring on Park Mobile. I would like to create a more borough branded signage that has more information, that is not kind of all over the place. And then also I would like to continue phase 2 of the wayfinding to fix the entryways to the borough, because now we have all of the lovely wayfinding signage in town. So one of the goals is to enhance wayfinding and drive business to the borough downtown. We also want to, I've included for capital for the next 5 years, $100,000 every year for paving for lots. The Darlington Street lot is like, I see it in my dreams next to Freddy Krueger at this point, because it's pretty bad. So I want us to be consistent on that. And then I do want to work with parking committee and the residents to overhaul the residential permitting plan and to understand how it's being used. Are there limits that people are comfortable to set on number of cars? Should they cost more if you have 15 cars, all of those sorts of things. And that would be part 2 of the survey. But I want as much public input as possible, because I do not want to get fired for that. And then I did not mean to leave that in there, but to work at the garages even more to automate. We have the express pay option once we bring Park Mobile and Parkways on, so you can drive in, it'll open, and you'll get a text approving the payment. And just to continue to provide customer service and enforcement. Any questions on that?
Any questions?
One question.
Tell me.
Remember last month when I told you I saw the lady in the skirt shimmying up a pole trying to do the QR code?
Said you liked her dress. but
Well,
yes.
we did.
Yeah.
Mr. Anderson and I were happened to be looking on Willerton Street, and he was kind enough to actually help the individual trying to figure out how to get up that pole a second time. I don't know how they ever did the app,
Mhm.
because Mr. Anderson and I don't speak Spanish. So that made double problems. So can we have a standardization on how high these signs can be from the ground, and retroactive, get out there and make them the right height? Because if we're going to ask them to use a QR code and they can't reach it,
Yeah. Yes. So when Monica and I went to Bethlehem, we were real big nerds and took a lot of pictures of the signage there. They have sign standards for the parking. And I think that we can collaborate with Public Works and just make it more consistent and cleaner. I'd like to wrap the kiosks like they do there. So if you're in a different area, it it coordinates with the signs, and then, that's a 3-hour parking area. So there's a lot to be done. So yeah, I hear that feedback and agree. And yes,
Next month, I'm going to tell you about the pole again, because I know that signs, they're going to be, I'd say it's probably about 14 feet in the air.
this is on Willard.
It's
Willardton?
right behind the Chestnut Street garage. And Mr. Anderson did a great job. Trying to get, he says, I asked him to climb the pole. He said those days were over. So
I'm going to find the sign with Mr. Anderson. You are welcome to mention that in Public Works also if you want, just to put it on their minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, moving on to old business, a motion to approve the August 2025 Parking Committee meeting minutes. Approved. Now we get to discuss the surface lot parking for special events. I think we did a pretty good job of getting very far. And I think it's time that we push this over into action. I understand that there is a lot of upset from the churches. We are talking about 3 Sundays in the year. I am open to adjusting times. What are your thoughts? Open to not charging on Sundays.
Sorry, say that again.
Not open to not charging on event days, event Sundays.
Well, we're aligned there. And I think, Ramsey, correct me if my recollection is incorrect. Originally, we said we would start in the churches, in the lots
Mhm.
after 12.
So first it was 8 a.m. all across the
Right,
board,
and-
then we moved to noon. We had two alternate feedbacks. Methodist Church said absolutely not, and First Pres Bucket School Church said they were cool with noon, that was fine with them.
And refresh my memory, and I think everybody else's memory, around the contract with the Methodist Church on High Street, right?
So-
They have,
They have a
Well-
lease. Yeah, they have a lease. I think it'll be up at the end of this year, so that'll actually be on next month's agenda, and I will call them. So I'm not announcing that here, but they have parking Monday through Thursday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And then Fridays, I think it's 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And I just typed this last night, so I should remember, but I think Fridays they didn't have programming, so they were comfortable ending it earlier. So I think it's 5 p.m. on Fridays. And then because Saturdays doesn't start until 5, they were fine. There's no Saturday, no Sunday enforcement because there is no Sunday enforcement. And we had not put special events in there because we didn't think of it.
I'm sort of with you, Ms. Vaccaro, or we're talking 3 Sundays, we're talking after 12, right? We've already made a concession. And there's still street parking. They can park on the street for free. We're just talking about lots and garages. So they can find parking on the street on Sundays for free. Right there on High Street, right there on Bernard Street. It's right next to the church.
Their service is,
They said that they have a Spanish evening Sunday service, which would be impacted.
right.
But again, there's still free parking available. Just those 3 Sundays out of the year.
Just walk me through their church during the Christmas parade.
That's a Friday.
Okay, that's a Friday. What's a Sunday? Restaurant festival.
Restaurant festival, yeah.
So just stay with one, just to walk me visually through. Are they going to be able to find street parking on that Sunday? Is it going to be so closed off?
Well, the restaurant festival is usually until 5 or 6 o'clock. Where's Keith? 5:30. So maybe, maybe not, but it's thinning out around that time.
Then it would be over anyway, right? We wouldn't be enforcing if the event was over, if they have a 5 or 6 PM event at the church. That would be, restaurant festival would be over.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. So the restaurant festival is from 12 to 5, right? 5:30, sorry. The service is at 5 or 5:30. I forget which it
I said
was.
that, but around there.
But the short answer to your question is yes, I think they will be able to find parking.
So, I want people to have access to whatever church they go to on whatever day that they go. But I also want to serve the community and provide a community experience for people beyond the individual churches. And I think that for the 3 days out of the year, it's completely reasonable to ask for some accommodations from the churches that are using these lots.
I'm sorry, say that again.
So when I go to church primarily for I go to meeting, but it's for the community experience, right? We go and we come together. I'm Quaker. Like, it's all about community. We sit together. We just sit there in silence. Super awesome. But like, that's what we do. And it's about being together. Now, restaurant festival, everybody goes out and they eat food and they walk around in between those trucks and they try to fit strollers down the street. And it's about being together. And so I'm asking a church 3 days out of the year to recognize that there are communities beyond themselves that deserve a similar communal experience. That's all. I think that they can do it.
I agree with you, but I will tell you and have the resident's name written down here, but I'm pretty sure she would disagree with you.
I have no
But-
doubt that she would disagree.
Yeah, but I agree. Again, it's 3 Sundays out of the month. The inconvenience, I think, is going to be minimal. And all the points that you made, there are a number of communities in this community. Let's recognize them all.
Are we going to bring this back for a vote?
We made a decision last month. I think we need to be prepared for the same discussion next week and be prepared to either pass it or not pass it.
I will say the same weird thing about community, because that's really what I really strongly believe, that this is just about providing community experiences for various groups. And yes, there's a slightly awkward overlay this couple times a year, but I think we can accommodate that. And I don't think I thought we were being asked to move it to 1 at one point, but that doesn't even solve this issue. So we're just going to have it come back in the same manner and we'll discuss it next week.
I mean, I said before, this is a policy, it's not an ordinance. There's opportunity to change. I think if we could give it a year to understand how it works, how it affects people before, once the vote is decided, then we can always reconvene. Maybe give it a year.
Can I ask you to communicate with Brian Travis about the specifications of the events that we are charging for to help him move forward with the decision of who we're paying out to?
Do you mean the other, what do you mean?
The
I'm sorry.
Act Committee discussion.
Oh,
Can you
okay.
just like be really clear with Brian about what, just making,
In this situation, in this
Just-
current policy?
with our current policy,
Yep.
can you just send that to Brian and say, hey, this is what parking has agreed on 2
Yes.
times in a row?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, so
He's in the back of the room.
still here.
Yeah.
Right. Hi, Brent.
Eh.
Yeah, I just want you to have this in writing so that we can add that to everything else, because that's going to be paying out. This is going to be bringing in. That's all. I think we need to be aware. I don't think they need to be the same. I think you need to be aware.
Okay, so we're leaving 3-0 as is. Yes, hi.
Yes, 3-0 as is.
Brian Travis, 304 South Walnut Street. Can you just reiterate what the decision was, just so it's very clear?
Well, the decision is we're going to.
The recommendation, I mean.
Well, the decision of this committee is the same as it was. On Sundays, we're going to start charging later than all the other event days. We're going to start at noon, and we're going to charge during the event, through the end of the event.
Accommodate the churches.
Yeah.
Right? All of
So-
the churches.
Right, I'm just trying to figure out what the cutoff was for, was it
Depends
5
on the
o'clock?
event. So
Okay.
various events. I don't know when the Halloween parade's going to end. I don't know.
All right,
So it is still iffy, but does that make sense? He knows.
yeah, clarity would be really great. So-
We need a lot of clarity. We need
Yeah.
massive amounts of communication.
I think that the question is like, so the restaurant festival, we're talking about the restaurant fest, 12
restaurant
to
fe-
5:30.
Restaurant
But the
festival's
Halloween
12 to
parade
5:30.
is
We move-
12 to,
We moved the parade back as of the request of this committee. So the parade will start at 1 PM. Streets will be closed starting at 10. So we have the setup from 10 to 1 and the parade is an hour long, 1 to 2. And we're out of there usually by 3.
so, but I think Mr. Travis's question was, how long will enforcement be enforced, right? So we're starting at 8 or 12, right? When will we stop saying, the restaurant festival's over at 5:30?
Yeah, this just says it'll end when the event ends. I'm assuming, I don't think parking is going to go out to the lots and ticket people at 5 o'clock if it's raining and the restaurant festival's wrapped up, but that it'll end when the end of the
Yeah.
event.
So in that instance, Ms. Vaccaro, it's not even 3 events, right?
Because the Halloween parade is going to be done by 3
Right.
o'clock, and that's not even going to affect that particular church's activities. I think communication is key. Maybe there was a luncheon that day and people are going to stay until 1:30. Communicate with the church that maybe you shouldn't have that luncheon that day because we're doing these other things that we're going to be charging for the lot.
It also says in the policy, churches will be notified by the parking services event at least 1 month prior to the event. And we will post the lots with signage as well ahead of time.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're still good with this. Thank you. We're going to move on to new business, but we're going to table that. So-
Yeah, thank you. I apologize. I fully still can plan on moving forward with Park Mobile, but we had a really good meeting with our vendor today, and there's just some questions that I wanted to clarify on the contract before we sign it.
Any other business? Yes.
If I can go back, when and how will the parking lots be posted for special event parking?
I wrote this whole thing for you, Daryl. I don't know if we said exactly how far ahead. My goal is to always post at least 3 days ahead of anything, but we will let the churches be notified at least a month prior to the event. I think the only reason that we wouldn't post a full week ahead so that there's a Sunday to Sunday would be weather issues, which we don't have a lot of special events in winter other than the Christmas parade. So
I would like
that's
to
fine.
see that coordinated with special event advertising. So if a month ahead of time, we put up advertising that also said the parking was $20 in lots and garages, that would be a sort of indirect notification
Yeah.
option, but that's not you.
Yeah, no, I know that like Katie always did that for the chamber and was really proactive about that, but I think we can do that as well. So.
Thank you. Any other business? Other comments? Yes.
My name is Matt McBride. I live in Kennett Square. My wife and I were in Westchester on Thursday. We, like many other people, had problems with the app. We tried using it by text. It failed 3 times. It was ridiculous. I did notice that there's actually no signs that tell you that there are kiosks anywhere. If you don't see them on the street, I had no idea there were kiosks. Anyway, you're clearly aware there are many problems. I came to this meeting specifically because there was going to be a discussion about Park Mobile's contract. Can you give some detail? Because it's clear nobody out on Facebook or in the general public knows anything about this new contract, whether it's going to replace your existing app, whether it's going to be alongside. I think I heard you mention another company as well. Can you please give some information to the public?
I'll just let you know, and we've said this in other meetings as well, but the
This is the
Flowbird,
first meeting I've ever come to.
and I totally understand that. The Flowbird app is actually, Flowbird is now owned by Park Mobile, so both of these apps will, when they get both up and running for Westchester, you can use either one. And then there's the option to text, and then there's the kiosk. So we do have these 3 options. This is relatively new here. So I encourage feedback. I want people to tell us what the problems are, because if we don't know what the problems are, we can't fix them. So please keep communicating. I really appreciate it. That's what's going on. We've been with Flowbird for years. That's why we're still with them. But Flowbird was separate, and now it's owned by Park Mobile. So both of the apps will work.
Yeah, they're actually a multinational conglomerate that got taken over by, I don't remember the name of the company. But they're actually out of Europe somewhere. And anyway, when would this Park Mobile contract, the text says it takes effect the moment you sign the contract. So when are you actually looking at bringing this online?
So I'll try to have it on the next agenda, and then there's a pretty quick turnaround to add it, but again, we still have to update signage, so, it'll be available sooner than it'll be clearly marked in town, but the goal is to just, I think when I met with Park Mobile, they said 90% of Westchester residents are already Park Mobile users. We hear the feedback. We've had Flowbird since before I started here, and it's been very successful down on campus. I think a lot of it is people setting it up on the fly or connectivity issues. I hear your
No,
feedback.
that wasn't what happened. I've got screenshots of what happened. It was clearly screwed up. It was, that's not the case. And you said you're on Facebook, you've seen these comments. People are not stupid. They're not having connectivity problems. These are actual app problems. Flowbird's been knocked out of a bunch of towns around the country. They couldn't even get their parking meters in Charleston, South Carolina going. They've had problems all over the place. And I know you've had them here for a while, but when you rip the meters out, you push people into the app, and it's clear that the app is not really ready for prime time. So you guys think, well, that's great you're bringing in an app. I just wanted to know when. And when?
Right, so it'll be on the next agenda hopefully, and then we will move forward as.
So you'll sign the contract is sometime in October, and then update your wayfinding and update all your signs. And hopefully the signs will include mention of the kiosks, because they don't right now. So you're thinking before the end of the year, likely?
That's the hope. And then the other app, just as you mentioned, there's Park Whiz, which also works with Park Mobile, which was the impetus is there also, that helps with the express pay that's available at Rogers. So they're all kind of related. They were all purchased by Arrived, the company.
And Park Mobile is being brought in simply because of the merger, or is it because of the complaints about?
There's no reason not to. We hear the feedback. Again, we've had what we're almost exclusive. It is the only app down on campus, and we've had it there. And there have been no meters since I started, and the feedback hasn't been the way that it's been in town. So I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying. I just think that,
Well, I can tell you right now, we're not coming back to the borough anymore until you get this fixed. And there's a lot of people saying that as well, that it's just too much of a hassle, and you want to spend $1 and it takes you 30 minutes to set up the app or do it by text or whatever. It's a huge hassle, and it's diminishing your public image severely, I would say. So anything you can do to accelerate something better than Flowbird, I think would be much appreciated. Yes, I believe me, I understand the rules. But I'm saying that there was no information on the agenda other than an item and an attached contract. There's been no feedback to any of these people commenting on Facebook.
I'm not
Say
gonna
it.
respond to Facebook messages.
I'm not suggesting that you do. I'm suggesting that you could put out public communications to let people know that.
I'm
you are
I'm
facing
gonna ask, thank you so much for
Yes.
sharing your thoughts. I
You're welcome.
appreciate it. And we have to, at this time, adjourn this meeting and we'll move on to the next. Thank you.